There's a certain kind of man who never seems to chase, and yet everything he wants finds its way to him. Women respect him, opportunities appear. His presence alone shifts the energy in a room. And if you ask him what his secret is, he'll probably shrug, because to him, it's not a strategy, it's just who he is. But here's what he knows that most men don't. The moment you chase, you've already lost. Not because wanting something is wrong, but because chasing reveals something deeper, a lack inside you that you're hoping someone else will fill. And people, especially women, can feel that. They might not name it, but they sense it. The energy of need, the scent of desperation, the quiet panic underneath the charm, and it repels them. Not because they're cruel, but because they're looking for someone rooted, someone who doesn't need them to feel whole, someone whose life is already full, whose mission is already clear. And whatever they add to it, it's a bonus, not the foundation. That's what this law is about. The brutal law of never chasing. It's not about playing games or pretending you don't care. It's about building a life so solid, so purposeful, so internally aligned, that you become a force of gravity, and the right things, the right people, the right woman, comes to your strength, because strength doesn't beg, it attracts. The problem: why men chase and what it costs them. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Most men chase because they're afraid. Afraid she'll lose interest. Afraid someone else will take her. Afraid that if they don't act fast, constantly, desperately, they'll end up alone. And so they text too much. They over-explain. They try to prove their worth. They make themselves available at all times. They sacrifice their boundaries, their time, their self-respect, all in the hope that she'll finally see their value. But here's the paradox. The more you chase, the less valuable you appear. Because value isn't proven through pursuit. It's demonstrated through presence, through having something real to offer, through being a man who isn't shaken by the possibility of loss. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that's the key. When you chase, you're placing your power in her hands. You're saying, "I need you to validate me. I need you to choose me. Without you, I'm less." And no matter how attracted she was at first, that energy will push her away, because it's not confidence, it's compensation. And deep down, everyone knows the difference. Think about it. When you're chasing, what are you actually doing? You're trying to convince her. But attraction isn't logical, it's felt. You can't argue someone into wanting you. You can't explain your way into being desired. And the more you try, the more you prove that you don't understand the game. Because the game isn't about words, it's about energy. It's about who you are when no one's watching. It's about whether your life has weight, direction, meaning, independent of her approval. That's what she's really testing for. Not whether you like her, she already knows that, but whether you like yourself enough to walk away if this doesn't serve you. The Stoic foundation, outcome independence. The Stoics had a term for this, outcome independence. It means you act from principle, not from attachment to results. You do what's right, what's aligned, what honors your values, and then you let go of the outcome, because the outcome isn't fully in your control. Epictetus said it clearly, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." What's in your power? Your character, your choices, your standards, your behavior. What's not in your power? Whether she texts back, whether she stays, whether she sees your worth. And the moment you tie your peace to things outside your control, you become a slave to circumstance. You lose your center. You start performing instead of being. And that performance? It's exhausting. It's why so many men feel drained after dating, because they've been wearing a mask, playing a role, trying to be what they think she wants, instead of simply being who they are. and trusting that the right woman will resonate with that. Outcome. Independence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care more about your integrity than her approval. You care more about living true than being chosen. And paradoxically, that's what makes you magnetic. Because a man who doesn't need validation is rare. A man who can walk away when his boundaries are crossed is rare. A man who has built something meaningful in his life, something that doesn't revolve around female attention, is rare. And rarity creates value. The shift, from chasing to building. So what's the alternative? If you're not supposed to chase, what are you supposed to do? You build. You build a life that matters to you. You build a routine that strengthens you. You build standards that protect your peace. You build a mission that gives your days meaning. And when you do that, something shifts. You stop looking for someone to complete you. You start looking for someone who complements what you've already created. Big difference. One comes from lack, the other comes from abundance. And women can feel that distinction immediately. Seneca once said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." Most men are drifting. They don't know what they want, where they're going, or who they're becoming. And so they attach to the first woman who shows interest. Not because she's the right fit, but because she's there. And that's not love. That's convenience wrapped in desperation. But the man who has a port, a destination, a mission, he's selective. He's not impressed by beauty alone. He's looking for alignment. He's not desperate for companionship. He's open to partnership. And that energy? It's intoxicating. Because it says, I'm building something real. You're welcome to join me, but I'm going either way. That's not arrogance, that's clarity. And clarity is magnetic. Law number 1. Your mission must come first. Here's where most men go wrong. They meet a woman they like, and suddenly their entire life revolves around her. The gym routine stops. The hobbies fade. The friendships get neglected. And within weeks, they've traded their independence for approval. And then they wonder why she loses interest. But it's obvious. She didn't fall for a man with no direction. She fell for a man who had one. And the moment he abandoned that to focus on her, she lost respect. Because deep down, she doesn't want to be your mission. She wants to be part of a mission you're already on. Aristotle said, "Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work." Your work, your purpose, your growth, that has to be your foundation. Not because relationships don't matter, but because a relationship built on a weak foundation will collapse. If your happiness depends on her, you're already in trouble. If your identity is tied to whether she stays or goes, you're already fragile. But if your life is solid, if you have goals you're working toward, passions you're pursuing, values you're living by, then her presence is a gift, not a necessity. And that distinction changes everything. She can feel it in the way you move through the world, in the way you don't panic when she pulls back, in the way you don't over-text or over-explain, in the way you remain grounded even when things are uncertain. That groundedness, that's strength. And strength doesn't chase, it attracts. Law number 2. Silence is more powerful than explanation. When a woman tests you, and she will, most men fail immediately. They explain, defend, justify. They try to win her over with logic, with reassurance, with proof of their worth. But here's the truth. Every word you use to defend yourself weakens your position. Because strength doesn't need to be explained, it's felt. The moment you start justifying your value, you've already signaled that you doubt it. And if you doubt it, why should she believe it? The Stoics practiced strategic restraint. They understood that not every provocation deserves a response. Not every question requires an answer. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stay silent. Let her wonder. Let her sit with the uncertainty. Let her feel the space you create when you refuse to chase. Because in that space, something important happens. She starts to question whether she has the power she thought she had. And that recalibration? It's necessary. It reminds her that you're not desperate, not controllable, not waiting by the phone. You're busy building something that matters. And whether she's part of it or not, you're going to be fine. Epictetus taught, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. So when she tests you, when she's vague, distant, or moody, don't react. Don't scramble to fix it. Don't flood her with attention, hoping it'll smooth things over. Just breathe. Stay in your center. Continue your day. And if she reaches out, respond with calm, not relief. If she doesn't, your peace remains untouched. That's power. That's the kind of composure that makes a woman think twice before playing games. Because she realizes you're not someone she can manipulate. You're someone she has to respect. Law number 3. Let distance create desire. Proximity breeds comfort. Comfort breeds complacency. And complacency kills attraction. That's why the men who are always available, always texting, always trying to be close, they lose her. Not because she doesn't like them, but because there's no tension, no mystery, no space, no longing. Seneca once said, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. And sometimes the most courageous thing you can do in a relationship is create space, not out of manipulation, but out of self-respect, because you have a life to live. You have goals that require your attention. You have a mission that doesn't pause for anyone. And when you disappear into that mission, when you go quiet, when you pull back, when you focus on yourself, something powerful happens. She notices. She wonders what you're doing. She starts to feel your absence. And if there was real connection there, she'll reach out, not because you tricked her, but because the space reminded her of what she values. And if she doesn't, then you have your answer. And you move on without resentment, without bitterness, because you were never chasing. You were simply being yourself. And the right woman will come to that. Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And part of becoming who you truly are is refusing to shrink yourself to fit someone else's comfort. If she can't handle your focus, your ambition, your need for solitude, she's not the one. And trying to convince her otherwise is a waste of your energy. Let distance do the work. Let space reveal the truth. And trust that if she's meant to be part of your life, she'll rise to meet the standard you've set. Not because you demanded it, but because she respects it. Law number 4. Standards aren't negotiable. Here's where most men collapse. They meet someone they're attracted to, and suddenly all their standards vanish. She's disrespectful? They tolerate it. She's inconsistent? They make excuses. She crosses boundaries? They adjust. All because they're afraid of losing her. But what they don't realize is this. The moment you drop your standards, you lose her respect. And once respect is gone, attraction follows. The Stoics believed in living according to nature, to your true nature. And your true nature has standards, values that aren't up for debate, lines that shouldn't be crossed. And when someone violates those, it's not your job to convince them to change. It's your job to walk away. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." So be one. Don't talk about your boundaries, enforce them. Don't explain what you deserve, demonstrate it through your actions. And when someone shows you through their behavior that they don't value what you offer, believe them. Don't chase them, hoping they'll see the light. Don't bend yourself into shapes trying to make it work. Just move on, with dignity, with clarity, with zero bitterness. Because you understand something most men don't. There are women out there who will meet you at your level, who will respect your time, your energy, your mission, who will rise to the standard instead of asking you to lower it. But you'll never find them if you're busy chasing someone who doesn't value you. And here's the paradox. The moment you're willing to walk away from someone who doesn't meet your standards, you become infinitely more attractive. Because you've shown that you're not desperate, you're not negotiable, you're not someone who can be taken for granted. And the right woman? She'll notice that. She'll test it once, maybe twice, and when she realizes you're serious, that your standards aren't a bluff, she'll either step up or step out. And either way, you win. Because you've protected your peace, you've honored your values, and you've stayed true to who you are. Law number 5. Attraction is built in your absence, not your presence. This is the part most men struggle to accept. They think that if they're not constantly around, constantly texting, constantly present, she'll forget about them. But the opposite is true. Attraction grows in the space between contact. It's in the moments when she's not hearing from you that she starts to wonder. It's when you're busy with your own life that she starts to feel the pull. It's when you're unreachable that you become valuable. Because scarcity creates desire. And if you're always available, you're no longer scarce, you're common. Plato once said, "The first and best victory is to conquer self." And conquering yourself means resisting the urge to fill every silence, to check in constantly, to reassure her of your interest. Because that reassurance, it kills tension. And without tension, there's no attraction. Think about the men women obsess over. They're not the ones who are always texting, always available, always chasing. They're the ones who are hard to reach, the ones who have lives that don't revolve around female validation, the ones whose attention feels earned, not given. And you can become that man, not by playing games, but by genuinely having something more important to focus on. When she texts you and you don't respond immediately, not because you're trying to manipulate her, but because you were training, working, creating, she feels it. She feels that you have priorities, that your life has weight, that your attention isn't cheap, and that makes her want it more. Because we value what we have to work for. And when you make your attention something that has to be earned, not expected, you shift the dynamic entirely. You're no longer the one hoping she'll notice you. She's the one hoping you'll notice her. And that shift, it changes everything. Law number 6, never apologize for your ambition. A woman who's right for you will never ask you to dim your light. She won't resent your focus. She won't guilt you for your discipline. She won't make you feel bad for prioritizing your mission. If she does, she's not the one. And trying to convince her otherwise is a trap. Because the moment you start apologizing for your ambition, you've already sacrificed part of who you are. Seneca said, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." And so many men suffer unnecessarily. They feel guilty for wanting more. They apologize for working late. They downplay their goals to make her feel more comfortable. But that comfort comes at a cost, your self-respect. The right woman doesn't need you to shrink. She needs you to grow. And if your growth makes her uncomfortable, that's information. It's telling you that she's not built for the level you're trying to reach. And no amount of reassurance will change that. So stop apologizing. Stop explaining why you need to focus. Stop justifying your ambition. Just live it. And the woman who's meant to walk beside you will respect it. She won't need convincing. She'll see your drive and be inspired by it. She'll add to it, not subtract from it. And when you find that woman, you'll realize why all the others had to fall away. Because they were never built for the mountain you're climbing. They were built for the valley. And that's okay. Let them stay there. You keep ascending. And when you reach the summit, the right woman will be there. Not because you chased her, but because she climbed too. Law number 7. The man she wants is already inside you. Here's the final truth, the one that ties everything together. You don't need to become someone else to attract the right woman. You need to become more of who you already are. Because the version of you that's disciplined, focused, grounded, and clear, that's the version she's drawn to. Not the people-pleasing version. Not the desperate version. Not the version that sacrifices his values, hoping she'll stay. The real you. The one who has a mission, a purpose, standards. The one who doesn't need her validation to feel whole. The one who can walk away if things don't align. That's the man women respect. That's the man they long for. And he's not someone you have to fake. He's someone you have to remember. Carl Jung said, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." So wake up. Stop chasing an image of what you think she wants. Stop trying to mold yourself into someone you're not. Just focus on building the best version of yourself. The disciplined version. The purposeful version. The version that doesn't compromise, doesn't chase, doesn't break. And let her come to that. Because when she does, it won't be because you convinced her. It'll be because she recognized something rare, something solid, something she couldn't ignore. The quiet power of never chasing. So let's bring it full circle. The brutal law of never chasing isn't about being cold. It's not about playing games or pretending you don't care. It's about building a life so strong, so clear, so rooted in purpose, that you become the kind of man people are drawn to naturally. The kind of man who doesn't need to chase, because he's already living at a frequency that attracts the right people and repels the wrong ones. You don't need to convince anyone of your value. You just need to embody it. You don't need to fight for attention. You just need to protect your energy. You don't need to fear losing someone who was never yours to begin with. You just need to trust that the right woman will see your strength and want to be part of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." And that's where it starts, with the way you think about yourself, about relationships, about what you're willing to accept and what you're willing to walk away from. When you shift that thinking, when you stop chasing and start building, everything changes. Not overnight, but steadily, quietly, powerfully. The right woman will notice. She'll feel the shift. She'll see that you're not like the others. And when she reaches out, you'll know it's genuine. Because you didn't beg for it. You earned it by becoming the kind of man worth choosing. So stay focused, stay grounded, keep building. And remember, the quiet work you do today is shaping the strength they'll never see coming. Let her come to your strength. Don't chase hers. If this resonated, the next video will show you how to build the kind of presence that commands respect without saying a word. Watch it now. Stay focused, stay grounded,